So what do you do exactly?
Okay, so I run a bakery business in Mikocheni. We sell cakes and desserts and also offer classes on anyone who wants to do baking for business, even for just hobbies. So we have different nature of classes as well. So that's basically what we do. I have a business partner, and there's a team of 6 of us.
6.
Yeah, I counted myself in because I also am part of the employees. So we're
a team of what, 2? Jesting. Okay.
Still 2 can chase 10,000.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
There we go.
It's a team of 6, and it's been a good journey growing into that as well.
So let's get into that a little bit. Where did this entire journey start? Like, when was that beginning of, like, when it started to now 6 and where you are, you guys?
Okay. So I started back when I was in university, as personally before I got into Lumiere. So I was baking for like my friends in school, my family. So it was a hobby. I was just trying out things, and then I began to give people. I was just giving them away, and people used to actually like them, but I didn't have an idea of starting a business with it. I was just doing it because I was enjoying giving and people being happy. That's all.
So you're like making cakes and giving them away?
Yeah, I would just make and go to church and be like, guys, I brought cake. Or I would go
just like that?
Yeah, or I would go visit someone and I'd make something because I used to enjoy, and that's how I loved to share. Today I don't show love or whatever. So I did that for a while until there's a time I had a friend. I told you that story. So I had a friend, and I remember that day I was like, can you bake me a chocolate cake? And I was like, okay. And he told me, and I told him, I mentioned the price. I was like, okay, 30,000. And he was like, okay. I was like, and he just paid me. And I'm like, wait, did I just make a sale? Like,
how do you feel?
I don't know. It was just fun. I remember going home with a friend of mine as well, and he mentioned back then, my pastor used to preach kingdom business, kingdom. And I'm like, I don't have anything that I can do. Like, I was in school.
Oh, okay.
So I did not have dominion. He used to preach a lot about that. And I didn't have anything that I was doing. And I was baking, but I never saw it as an opportunity to actually do something evil. But I was going home with a friend of mine from church, and he was like, you're baking, why can't you turn that into... And that's when it happened to me.
With that friend.
Yeah, he's actually a pastor now.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was... I think then, though, I met that other friend and I just mentioned that, and he gave me money. And I was like, I can actually do this. So that's how I started.
Quick story before you go on. The feeling of being paid. Personally, it was this week. I have always wanted to help creators with content, like just package the content. And for that, you see, most of the times when you try to start content, most people feel scared. They feel like they want to be an expert. They feel like they need to get it perfect. They need to get it right.
Yeah.
And then they overthink. So they overlook their equipment and feel like they need an equipment of some sort.
Yes.
And then one of the things that I've learned is what you have is a seed that you need to sow to get what you want. And then the challenge is people have struggles to see that, because there's this mindset, and I was talking about one of the videos that I dropped on Instagram, is the temptation to focus on what you don't have. And then what that does, it just creates a lot of frustration, and then you're in this loop, and then you go into this thing called ill hope, where you're just hopeful, but it never materializes.
Yeah.
So that loop, so I'm going to just start shooting, So throughout I started shooting with my phone, the Infinix Hot 9. Then I went across this amazing challenge, right? It's a challenge to help people create offers, know how to package their stuff so that they can sell at a good price, good investment. It's a 5-day challenge. We took that challenge. I remember my brother paid for it, right? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna roll into this challenge. I was like, come over. And we did this 5-day challenge by Myron Golden. After doing that 5-day challenge, I realized, you know what? I have something to offer. I have something to package. But I was kind of scared to do it. Will people buy? But it's like, you know what? I am going to package it anyway. So I did package it, put it down. 5 days, people enrolled. Now, it wasn't like the big thing for people to enroll. I was grateful. But the thing happened is when I finished the challenge, all 5 days, I recorded them. And then somebody reached out to me. I was like, I want to buy that. In my mind, I'm like, what? Do you want to buy my challenge that I did? I'm like, yeah, I want to buy that and I want to buy the next one. I'm like, okay. So I was like, okay, I packed it entirely on YouTube. And then I was like, yeah, sure, you can have it, but you have it only for 7 days access. And then after that, it expires unless you get into the challenge again. And then, do you know what they told me? Yeah, sure. Where do I pay? I'm like, where do you pay? Oh, I'm going to send you where you need to pay. Wow. So the moment that the money came in, I think that's the moment, that's the feeling. Yeah. I was like, it's like cheating. Like, I'm getting paid for something I love doing.
Yes. Yes.
You get what I mean? Yeah. So you're telling me how much you got to that place where somebody paid you.
Yeah.
And then what happened from there on?
Then I just started I think when it's somebody's birthday and I would offer like, let me make you some cupcakes, let me make you, and then people started, the people that I was giving those cakes to taste were coming to me to ask me to make them cakes for their events. And I'm like, I cannot decorate for my life. Like, I don't know how to decorate, but they would just trust me. And I'll show you some pictures, my beginning pictures of cakes.
I think we might put them in the
video.
Like, they can come up anytime now.
Yeah, so people used to pay me because they loved the taste of the cake. And then I was also not charging so much. Kwa hiyo, that's how I began. So the ones that were tasting those cakes, they were my customers. The ones that I was just giving them for free, as I'm just, and then they're like, now are you selling? I need a birthday cake. Can you make me that cake? And then I'll be like, okay, yeah. And I'd make them. Then that's how.
I think one of the most amazing thing in that is, and I feel like most young people or people who are starting in anything, we want to get paid for a value we have not yet offered.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that you decided to just, out of just, I love cake and I'm just going to share it. Yes. And it started from that happy serving. I want you to be happy. Probably little did you know you're actually sharing your value to the market. And people are like, this is really good. I want more.
Yeah.
And the fact that you did that, and I feel like it's a big learning for all of us, is take your stuff, put it out there.
Yeah.
Just do the thing.
Yeah.
So how did that turn to, I don't really know how to pronounce the entire name. It has Lumière, then there's Pastry. I don't know. You're going to help me.
Lumière Desserts Patisserie.
So how did that move from, hey, cakes for friends, to we're doing this thing?
So okay. So when I started, it was not Lumiere. I was doing my own business. So I opened an Instagram page, found someone to do my logo. Now I'm serious, with the preachings in church. I'm like, hey, I'm going to take
Let's
over.
do this.
Let's do this. So it really helped me, honestly. I did all that. So I began selling from university and church. Those are my main customers, and family. Everything began to spread word of mouth. So I opened an Instagram page and all that. And then I finished university, and then I had to choose a path. So am I going to go with cake? Am I going to go with finance? So I was presented these two completely different paths, and I have to make a decision of, like, I'm young. Like, how do I make a life decision, Raila? But then I had to make, because my mom was like, you can go for your master's in finance, or are you going to go with baking? Like, go to school for baking and then continue with the business.
And your mom was okay with this, like, for you to decide either you go for cake?
Yeah.
She was not like, you gotta do finance. You gotta do finance.
She's the one who presented me. She was like, you need to make a decision.
Oh,
and she actually gave me a deadline.
Oh, she put pressure on you.
Yeah, she did. I remember going to my lecturers and asking, like, advisor, just looking for people. I'm like, I need to talk. Can I talk to you? Can you advise me? And I remember most people advised me to go like with the masters and, you know.
Quick one. What was the difficulty? Like, what was the actual conflict that you were facing as Shama in that dilemma? What was the challenge there to come to a resolution in your decision?
I think, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what's my, like, which path am I supposed to take?
Okay.
Because those are two different paths, as I was saying. Like, I don't know, should I go to finance and then be, you know, because I used to also like finance. So do I take this route or do I take this route?
Okay.
So this route, like, there's no employment. This route is business. This route is, there's no security.
This is entrepreneurship.
And then this route is, there's security. So, and it's safe. It's a safer route.
Safe.
You take your masters and you land a good job. So, yeah, then I just decided that I'll just continue with baking.
Wait, hold on. You just decided? Like, was this like, I just woke up and, you know,
I know.
I'm just, or was it like, how did you get to that decision? Why am I asking? Because I feel like most of us have been presented with that path where you're like, I want to do gaming and then just game and just game and then make money from, I don't know, something like that. Or let me do my degree in accounting and then turn that into a job. So, like, help us, like, how did you get there? Like, talk to me.
I think you need to listen to that inner.
Okay.
You need to listen to that inner voice, inner guiding of the Holy Spirit, whatever, you know. But you need to listen to, because there will be something that is that is more like you're more inclined to. Okay. Somehow, I think I was confused, but I kept being led to go for baking. Okay. But like when I'm talking to people, they keep telling me to do the masters because it makes sense. I was gonna go for like a CFA. Okay. So I was that was my conflict. Okay. Within me, I feel like I should continue with baking, but outside, the people that I'm asking are advising me to go for, you know. And then other people I would call and be like, just trust your heart, follow your heart. And I'm like, my heart is confused right now. Like, I need you to advise me. I want to know what to do. I think I just followed my heart. You know,
I feel like I like that. I like that reply because most people people could have a mileage in some area and certain wisdom and experience that they can guide. Yeah. But in the end of the day, the conviction, the GPS that God has placed in you, like, it always inclines to a certain direction. So you can choose to ignore it, or like, and when you ignore it, you know, like for example, the other day I was with Justin. Justin is the guy behind the camera who is doing an amazing job. I know you can't see him, but anyway. And we were here, and I was like, this is me now in my head. We're going to start recording short videos to, you know, pump up the YouTube channel. Okay. And then in April, that's when we're going to do the podcast. And then in the middle of that shooting, and I just felt within me, like, it's like God just dropped something. I was like, why are you waiting until April? What are you waiting for? I was like, what am I waiting for? and then I was like, what am I waiting for? And I just told Justin,
let's do it.
Let's just do the intro episode. Yeah. And then we pulled up everything. And I was like, I don't have a script. I'm like, I have done this podcast before on audio format. Yeah. I've done 24 episodes.
Wow.
Audio. I was just myself in my room. Wow. I just come with ideas. I'm like, I just do an episode. Some will last 10 minutes, some will last 30 minutes, some will last 20. I would share some of those and I would just record, you know. And then I was like, I've done this before. Let's just do the intro. So I did the intro, and I was like, okay. And eventually I was like, let's get guests. Who are gonna be the guests? people I already know.
Yeah.
Right. So it's that push and inclination that the GPS
The
that God has
drive,
placed in you. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about. I know that you did some further studies in the art. What do you call it? Art of culinary.
Pastry.
Me and my.
I did a pastry program.
Yeah, and tell us about that. How did that come around, and what did you gain from it, and how are you applying it right now?
Okay. So I went for a professional pastry program that was like 3 months, and then which includes like cake, not only cake, which includes like cake and a lot of other French desserts and just cookies, tarts, a lot of desserts. It was a very, very fast program. So when I finished the program, I was still like, I cannot go home. Like I need to practice because it was very fast.
Where did you do this program?
Learning in Dubai.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were learning new things every day. So there's no like, and then after a week, you just do an exam. So there was no time to like recap, So I was like, okay, let me just get a job. So I went to work for one of the 5-star hotel in Dubai. I was doing a Komi pastry chef, like the entry level.
It sounds really fancy though.
Komi
what?
No, it's not. Komi, COMMIS. So that's like an entry level.
Komi something.
2,
okay.
Komi 1,
Okay.
and then there's like the there's like the CDP, and then the SU, and then
there are levels to this
there are
thing.
levels to this thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did that for I think maybe 2.5 years, and then I came back. Like I mean, from school to the whole time in employment as well. So I went there to learn. I wanted to understand, to practice. I wanted to understand how these people do their things. I wanted to take some tricks and all that from them. So after a while, I was like, okay, this is enough. I knew, because I was no longer learning. I was just repeating the same things every day. So I knew, I was like, okay, it's time to go. And while I was there is where I met also my business partner, who was also studying in... She was actually she was also looking for a school. She was a baker before as well. So she was also looking for a school to go to. So a friend of a friend recommended her to me because I went there. So I instructed her, so she also enrolled to that school that I went to. And then she was also ready to leave. So I was like, okay, then we can work together. So we met and we talked and we're like, oh, we have the same goals. So you go do the same thing and I go do the same thing. We can just do it together, So that's when we came back and we started Lumière Desserts and Patisserie. So that's how Lumiere came about. That's 2022.
Okay.
Beginning. Yeah, that's a long story. I think I lost you.
Well, you didn't. I did talk to Josephine, which your partner.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting how one decision leads you to a path. It's quite crazy. And I love that because it does say that you might not know the entire path. You might not have it structured out.
Yeah.
But that inclination can take you to a place which you've never thought you would be. You know what I mean? You never really thought you'd meet Josephine and then eventually start a business.
No.
But that's amazing. So how has that business experience been from the get-go until today? Give us some your like the backstory of this entire business. I am seeing your face change.
Oh
my god!
I start now. There's a lot of lessons, but it has been an amazing journey, amazing growth from where we started. Financial growth, management growth. Like we got in people because we started as 2 people, so you were able to bring in one person and then another person and then another person and then another person. So we have a team of like 6 people now. 6 or 7, I'm not sure. Is it 6? 7?
7.
Now we have one more person.
Are you trying to count yourself out and count
No,
yourself in?
I counted
Like,
myself.
should they be in? Should they be out? Should they be in?
No, I am in. I'm very much in. Sometimes I just pretend to be the owner, but I'm properly an employee.
Oh my god, that's a wow! I like that mindset. Is it like a thing for you? Like, I like what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you pretend to be an owner, but you're totally an employee. Is that like a thing for every business, or is this like your thing? How you think of it?
I think it's a good place to be.
Okay.
Also, because when I started thinking like that, I was able to consider Lumiere as a person, and I am another person. So it's separated as, like, you know. Kwa hiyo, I mean, yeah, I started it, but I'm still part of the process. I get paid as an employee. Lumiere may have money, but I may not have money. Okay. So I was able to, like, separate, like, what my business does and what I do are two different things, two different people. Well, I think, I don't know if I've answered the question. Like, it has just helped me be able to know I work for this company, which I do, because I go in and I decorate or whatever that I do. If I do finances, PR in the business, I work for it. So I started it. Yes.
So it's like helps you separate and like two different entities, so that each entity can stand on its own and be responsible for its own things.
Yes.
Okay.
Because before it was like, your money is the business money. Like,
you take it.
Like,
it is yours.
Yeah.
Now.
Like you sold something for 80,000. I have 80,000. You get. Go like, this is 60,000. I have 80,000.
Okay.
So you use the 60,000. Because there's no discipline of, like, I'm just an employee.
Okay.
Like, even if you're a CEO is also an employee. COO, those are also, like, employees. Of course, we're the owners, but, like, we still work for Lumiere and the big boss up there.
So you were talking about your experience in the business arena, like you doing business. Maybe I can just be more specific.
Yeah.
What are some of the experiences you've had that have been the lowest experiences in your business that you've gone out with a very significant lesson?
Lowest.
It could be like one of those, some of those, maybe not lowest, but low, you know, or some of the experiences that really stand out for you throughout your business journey, whether that's a learning. I'm asking this on purpose because different people probably listening to this are in different aspects in their business. Some are starting, some are not starting, some are passionate, some are waiting. Right? Either of those spectrum. I do believe that your experience can speak a specific lesson. So that's the question. I'm not going to break it down further. Is that like a biggest lesson or like biggest failure? It could be biggest failure. It could be biggest lesson. Either way.
Okay, my biggest lesson that I am learning, still learning, is when you start a company, have a roadmap if you can. It's not easy. How we started companies. I mean, how we started businesses is, you buy, you sell. That's all. Like I buy this so that I sell this, I get this. So we don't have structures. We don't know. So for me, my biggest lesson would be like introducing a culture, like in every employee that we're bringing in, like having policies, having like standard procedures. Those we do not have them. So once you bring somebody and they come in and they just know come back, their work is to do 1, 2, 3, and they do 1, 2, 3 in any way, as long as they get to the goal, and then they're used to that lifestyle. And then now you want to grow. So growth requires you to have different kinds of disciplines, structures of some sorts, procedures of some sorts, policies of some sorts. So now it becomes hard to instill those things to the people because they are already used to doing things in a certain way.
Just because you didn't create a foundation.
Because you never created that foundation.
Okay.
Now it's so hard to force people to begin to be somebody that for 2 years.
You've already
3 years.
Samaki mkunji angali?
Yes.
Okay.
That is very important.
I like that.
It is very important.
The intensity, I can feel the intensity of that. Has this hit you in one way or the other?
Have policies in place. Have procedures in place. Have procedures that this is done like this is this. So that when you're growing, nobody has to and then make them so high, make them international, so that you don't have the bar is too high. You get there. By the time you're getting there, you're already used to doing things in an international way, in a certain standard. Let's say garbage. You collect your garbage, like paper garbage, and then there's plastic garbage, there's
glass.
Glass, you separate them. That's an international. People don't do that here. But if that's what you practice, it becomes normal for your people in such a way. Even when you reach levels that you want to be at a certain, let's say, market. Maybe you want to be in let's say Kenya, and they're practicing that, or South Africa. You want to have a franchise, whatever. You're not adjusting. You're not trying to tell people, money, don't do this, don't do this. It's already part of you. That's, I can say. So we're having a hard time now making people work a certain way. I think that's one of my biggest lessons. It's when you start and when you're bringing people, have your policies in place. These are my expectations. These are the policies of this company. This is how we're going to be doing this, and make them very, put a higher standard on them. Put a higher standard. That will help you a lot, because you will need people, and you will need people who will understand your vision, communicate your vision to them every day, communicate your values, communicate your expectations. Just keep on saying until it enters if they have to chant every morning they come in, they have to chant and chant and chant that vision. That if they have to sing, let them sing. If they have to do whatever, but it has to enter, because if it doesn't, they'll just do a job, and there'll be no heart. I cannot explain that, but si keki imemalizika, si imesha nanili, lakini but do you see kwamba hapa kuna nanili?
Do you see the detail that is missing?
Yeah. You cannot, sababu sasa standard yako, it's you want to raise the standard, you want something excellent, right? If you don't instill that in them, they will make a cake and it will be ready. It's ready, it's here. You get. But then when you go, you're like, hey, didn't you see this? Rub the board. Why is this color? This is not the color that is in the picture. But for them, that's not a detail. It's it is almost the same.
Then it goes back to you didn't train them.
It is my fault. Yani, it is my fault. No one I'm saying. As a businessman, that's one of the biggest lessons that the other things normal, but I mean finances, just watching your money and whatever. Those are things that you need to know. But one of the biggest that will save you is still those people, building them.
Wow.
That culture. Even people coming in, they know, they already find. If you can write them, put them down. So people who are coming, they know. They come in, they sing. If it is chanting, they chant. If it is reading, every morning when you come, you read this until it enters.
It's something. Yeah. It's something you build in somebody's mindset. So it's like what you're saying is, there is a mindset that is required to be able to create a specific standard.
Yes.
So you can't just assume that, you can make the cake, and then you have to go to the details that, okay, this cake is made like this, it is delivered like this, you talk to the customer like this, when they give back comment, you do it like this, and then you take them through that process until it gets into their medulla oblongata.
Yes.
And then it becomes now second nature.
Yes.
And now they're part of the culture.
Yes.
And I feel like that is not something, okay, the number of businesses that have been around personally, just work in or just experience. You will go to their website, or rather go to most website, you'll find values. And then you'll see their excellent something. You're like, very fancy website, nice, cool.
Yeah.
But then if you go into the room, you're like, what just happened? Like, what what's the transition you get? But then I understand now. You telling me this, understands. Okay, it does take work, right? And not everyone is willing to do that. People are in it for trade.
Yeah,
make them money.
Yes, job. It's just a job.
I'm done.
I'm here to make my ends meet.
But I feel like what you're talking about is beyond struct. It's more like creating a brand, a culture. And I feel like big companies like okay, we're gonna point out a few, but let's talk phones that we like. Apple, like Apple, maybe Samsung. Though I don't prefer Samsung. I'm sorry, Samsung, but I don't prefer. Right, Apple. And just think about big companies. When you think about them, there's this feel and this culture and this presence. Yeah. And I feel like people who can create that amongst their people, they can duplicate that. They can transfer that to. I feel like the customers, like they engage with that more than they engage with your product.
Yes.
So I think that's cool. Talk about. Okay, go ahead. And
you cannot, and that's actually multiplying yourself, because if you don't do that, you cannot talk to everyone. You need that for growth if you want to go far.
Talk more about that.
If you don't want to go far, if you just want to go somewhere, but if you're going far, you cannot do everything alone. And that's why that's important, because people need to be able to do what you would do when you're not there. Not as a step, no, but the heart of it. Yani kwamba they can think like you. They can execute like you, because there are different situations. Kuna situations ambazo kwamba if this happens, you do this. But there are other situations that you have to think. Now, but if they can think through you, like you've instilled those things, that culture, that we're a luxury or we're a premium company, so we cannot go below this standard. If something has to be repeated, if you instill that, it's gonna help you, because there are times that you won't be there. So what we're going through right now is, if I'm not there, what goes? If the process goes on, what can go? Sometimes then the customer will be like, complaining like, but the color, like the flower is like this, and then you're like, whoo. But they cannot see why, and when I look, I can see. So why can't they see? They should also be able to look and see that this is.
Look and see.
Yeah, like there's not any. This is wrong, but they can't. Literally, you'd have to go and tell them, like, you understand, because we did not like groom them with those values, with those like excellence, with even the way things are done around. You understand? It's not only the end of giving the customer, no, but even how things are run within the work environment. So that's we failed them, I can say, but that's one thing I've learned. Now we're trying to now get back up. I'm like,
structure it up.
I'm trying to structure things. I'm trying to put policies in place, and it's not easy.
You go.
It's not easy. Yeah. We're having meeting every week. We have meetings, but we'll be repeating the same things, and it's frustrating. Like you literally said that last week. You're going to repeat it again this week, and then you're going to repeat it again next week. But you have to, because you're paying the price that you did not pay before.
Ooh, and there goes. There's something I want to talk about. Before I talk about this something, what I'm hearing you is you are now teaching and training. You're in the business of teaching and training the people who are serving with you.
Yes.
So that they can serve with you in the standard that you have envisioned or you are progressing in.
Yeah.
And that is beautiful, because once you train them, it becomes like you're a body. So now, like, there's coordination, the muscular system. If there's coordination, we can move, we can breathe, and we can live and do the purpose that this. Wow, that's amazing. So here's the thing. don't like cakes. Well, I thought I didn't. Right? I don't. I don't like sweet things.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't prefer to go for a sweet or something tasty, like anything packed. Of course, honey is sweet, and you know, but I'm talking chocolate and anything processed that is sweet. Processed sugar. Right? So I always dodge cakes in birthdays. I try to dodge them. Like, they stick on my teeth and like taste like I don't like them. Right? So people ask me, why don't you like? And I don't want to explain. I just don't like the cake. Right? So there was a birthday of somebody, right? And they told me that this cake is was made by Lumiere, Shama. I'm like, Shama's cake. Come on, let's try it. Don't like cakes. So I'm going to describe the experience. I'm going to try to put it in the details. So I took a piece. I remember it was reddish.
Red velvet.
Yeah, yes. It sounds nice. Whatever that is. You know, I took it.
Yeah. And
I put it in my mouth. So it's as if they were singing, the flavors were singing together. Like, honest, I'm just trying to explain this. It's like the flavors were singing together. Wow. It's like it was a choir with like soprano, tenor, and alto. Yeah. Like they were there, all singing in harmony. And it's not like flavors broke. Yeah. They were one. Yeah. And then not just that, but they were not just one, but you could taste them throughout. And then the texture, it wasn't like flour or like eating sponge or eating wood. Sorry for those people eating your cake, and I feel that way. But then it felt like it was soft. And before I knew it, it just melted and vanished. I was like, where did that cake go? Yeah. Right? And then I was like, okay, whatever this is, it's amazing. And then crazy enough, we started talking about that cake with a few of my friends. We went out somewhere to eat something, you know. Yeah. And then we're just talking about that cake. And I realized we didn't eat a cake. We went into an experience. Yeah. You better tell me how you create these cakes and what just happened. Like, what do you do to them? Like, what is okay, maybe there's a secret behind that makes the business work, but anyway, never mind. But like, what makes those cakes that different?
Okay. So we try to use the best ingredients that we can get. So I think that's one of the differences. We don't, because most business people would try to lower the cost by compromising on the ingredients. So that will be one. And also because I think the type of cake that we make, we don't make the pound cakes that most Tanzanians are making. So we prefer to make a cake that everybody can eat everything, that you can literally finish and just remain with the board. So that's the whole experience, and that's why you don't take out the cake and then you want the
icing, that hard thing,
so
which tastes so sweet, too sweet.
Yes. So you can eat the whole thing and it just melts. So I think just the attentiveness to details and the ingredients that we use and the expertise as well that we have. So it's a mixture of, and the heart.
The heart,
because we want you to enjoy it. Like, we want you to, because when I go somewhere and I pay for something, I want to be like, yeah, and that was worth my money, no matter how much it is, you know. Like, but I would appreciate, especially food.
Okay.
You know, when you go to a restaurant and you order something and they bring you something exactly, there's a way, and you're like, you even want to tip the guy, you know, worth the calories. You're like, this is worth, take my money. So that experience, so I was missing that a lot, especially in the cake industry. Like, I would go somewhere and I would eat the cake and I was like, oh man, why any evil? But then I was like, okay, let me just save in my little capacity, just save that industry.
Sounds to me like when you're, because there's exposure to, people have exposure to these ingredients. They are out there. It's not like they're hidden in some desert. They're out there. Desert. Why did I say desert? But they're out there. But if it sounds like the heart in it and the heart to serve and your value system, all those combined, they make it like when you put your hands into something, you're like, it comes out with that. So you know what detail to put. That's amazing. I want us to go somewhere right now, and I feel like this pool of people might really benefit from this episode as well. It's the students, right? Students. Why students, or what exactly about students? Students go to school and they learn how to do what they learn how to do. And what they learn what to do when they go out there is not what the world requires to do, right? So you studied finance, right? And you say during that time you started this business. And then you hit this junction where now you have like finance or cake. I want to hear you in terms of what is your, I would say it could be a mixture of advice and experience. Right? As a student trying to start a business, you are passionate about this thing and you still want to probably, if this was your case, please your parents by doing finance, if that was your case. Speak to that young person who is trying to figure their life out. They are passionate about something, but at the same time they have to stay into like this thing, like my parents want me to stay in this lane. From your own experience, what would you say?
It's tricky because it's also dependent on the nature of parents that you have. Some parents would you have to study medicine. This is the family of doctors. You cannot.
Sorry, somebody showed me a picture of this morning. Somebody showed me a picture of pilot is dad, 4 daughters, all pilots, and I was like, was this like all these daughters wanted to be pilot, or was this daddy duplicating herself? Okay, never mind. Go on.
It depends on the family, the kind of family. But if you have an open-minded family, it's easier. It's a little bit easier. So if you're a university student and you're passionate about something, start where you are. I think maybe part of my mom accepting is because maybe I had already started and I was making money. I stopped asking for pocket money. She already saw results of what I'm doing as a student. So maybe she was like, okay, maybe as opposed to I want to do this instead of finance. Where? How? I don't see this, you understand? So I think part of her accepting is because she saw, and part of her even supporting go further this is because she saw that I was already doing something within the same, and it's doing something. Like, you're no longer asking for pocket money, you're no longer, things are moving for you. You understand? So I think that's, so start where you are. I started in my mom's, especially if you're still at home. I started with my mom's oven. I did not have any equipment. I used to mix with a mwiko. I had 2 pans, my mom's old baking pans. Those are the pans that I was using. I use the oven, I use her electricity, and I bake. So I save, then now I buy a machine. Now I have a hand mixer. So I'm happy I have a hand mixer. I never had spatulas. I used to use a knife to decorate. The bread knife. Not bread knife, sorry. But the knife we use for breakfast. That one.
The butter knife, they call it.
Butter knife. Yeah. Yes. I forgot.
You see, maybe I should get
yeah. So I used to. That was how I used to do things. So I saved up kidogo, and then I could buy a machine, then I could buy a spatula, and then that's how I grew. I didn't have mtaji, a capital. I only bought like flour, I bought like if cocoa powder, whatever, all these things. That's what I bought. But the rest, like it was organic on the way. So I didn't have like a capital. So if you're in university and you have like a passion, especially if you're home, your costs are so low. Like you literally, the only cost is for you to get those materials that you have. So start where you are. You have a lot of time in university. Like you have a lot of time. So start. If you can prove to your parents, if you have difficult parents, if you can prove that this thing, maybe you cannot prove in a short time period, but there's something that they will see. The way you work hard on that thing. I never used to sleep. My mom used to see me like I would sleep on the couch like 9 a.m. because we had a small oven. Like 3 a.m. I wake up and I'm like, she saw all that. When I'm busy, she saw all that. So it only makes sense to support that, but then not just a story. Or if you have a supportive parent, at least have a business plan. Show something for it. Like, don't just have a dream, and then you're like, yeah, I have a dream. I don't want to go this way. I want to do this. What's the business plan? Have you done your research? But if you go to some parents, they're like, this is the research that I've done. Like, with numbers, it's easier to get the support from your parents to do what you want to do. So if you're passionate, start where you are.
Woo! That was deep. Okay. That was like a dose. I was in your world right now. You said so many things. If I start dissecting one by one, we would like finish this pod in the next hour and a half. But then it's more or less like walk your talk.
Yeah.
Right? Like just walk the thing.
Yes.
Like you want people to support you while we don't see nothing that you're doing. Right? 3 a.m. What? What is that? Like 3 a.m. is like what? That is crazy, and it might be very easy to get into this argument or this complaint that they don't see what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm passionate about this. I'm ready for this. I want to do game. I want to do gaming. I want to do movies. I want to do sewing. I don't want to do this new thing. I want to do acting. I want to do singing. Yeah. But my parents don't. Somebody asked me that question, and one of the things I thought was like, probably your parents also are parenting you the way they were parented.
Yes.
And then because they're parenting you the way they were parented, all they know is to parent the way they were parented.
Yeah.
And you're bringing this new thing that they do not know how to cope with it yet.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you do not have substance.
Yeah.
So how do you explain yourself? So what you did, I'm like, wow. Like if I was the parent, I would look into them like, she's really serious about this thing. I think that's a powerful advice. Yeah. I'm also learning about this is just crazy. Using what you have. That is one of the most difficult thing that I personally have come to now accept. Like what you have is what you need to get what you want. Right? It's all you need.
Yeah. Moses, what do you have in your hand? What do
you have in your hand? You've got a stick. This stick cannot part the Red Sea. Oh, you think so? Just let me show you how.
A whole people from Egypt, a whole nation.
So what you think is small
delivered
could deliver your family.
Yeah.
Could deliver your friends, your nation. Yeah. You think this ability to paint is just like a small thing. You could dogoisha it. You could dogoisha it. Yeah. But then, or Justin's ability to shoot videos. I just heard you, Justin. Justin was talking about his journey. I'm not going to talk about, maybe you're going to be in the podcast soon. Yeah. But then he was talking about his journey, how he's an engineer, but then his passion is videos and pictures and he was employed.
Yeah.
Right? Until when you will tell your story properly. Until when he was suffocated, he felt like, I feel like there is more in me. Not that employment is bad, but I feel like there's more I can create.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'm gonna go create this.
Yeah.
Well, he's here now.
Doing big things.
Yeah. So that's amazing, Shama. And I thank you so much for that. I don't want to keep this long. I know there's so much you can talk.
Yeah.
But I would like to hear, like, how do people reach you? Where, like, drop all your thing, like Instagram handles, if you have Dar es Salaam handles, TikTok handles, whatever. I've started seeing you posting on Instagram, and I think that's amazing. I felt good, like, okay, I love it when people put out content and show what they have, because I feel like there are a lot of skills here in our nation. There are a lot of knowledge and expertise and wisdom and abilities, but for some reason we don't value it enough to package it and share it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the main reason why I started the Confident Creator Challenge, to push creators and entrepreneurs to step out with their education, with their knowledge and their skill sets. You know, you can bake cake, you want to teach it, then you can do that on YouTube. Do you want to do this? You can do that. You don't have to be like a top influencer to start creating. They were there because they started somewhere. It rhymes and it's cool. Right? So tell us, like, how do we reach you? And if you want cake, is there anything coming up? Go.
So I wanted to add on that. As a man thinketh, so is he.
Okay.
You know, you might have something good, but it's because of how you think of yourself, how you see yourself. You limit yourself by that. That's who you become. Okay. You are what you think. So if you think you don't have content, if you think whatever that you have, mi bado sijafika pale. Okay.
Ndio hivyo. Tutakuacha hapo.
Ndio hivyo. Kwa hiyo that is what you're gonna portray, and it's very limiting. Kwa hiyo utabaki hapo. Utabaki in that space. Ouch. That's it. Because it's a principle. Wow. So until you deliver this, then you start taking out content. But you have something. But no matter how many people will come and tell you, can't you see this? You can do this. As long as you see, no, hichi ni kidogo sana. Ama hii ni. That is how it will be. And people will not value, like the way you're thinking like that. People will not value it like that. Kwa hiyo it's, as you think, so are you. Wow. I just wanted to add that one. And also, how can people reach me is... Before... I'm going to add something. It's an addition point. This is going to be like the addition on top of the addition. You've talked about, I think you've touched identity. You've touched, and I feel like it would be an injustice if we don't expound a bit. Like, what does it mean when as a man thinks, so is he? Your perspective defines, like your perspectives creates like a picture of you. Right? Doesn't mean that I don't want to go there, but your perspective creates a picture of you. Like how you see yourself is how people will see you. And how you value yourself is how people will value you. How you portray yourself is how people will receive you. Like all these things starts with you. So if, as you've said, if you feel as if you don't have it, even though you have it, but because you think that, then you don't. Right? And that transition of acknowledging and appreciating and seeing what you have is a life transforming transition. And I can testify for myself that when I stopped to look within myself and like, no, this is small. I was like, wait, what other seed has God placed in me apart from this? What am I looking for outside of me that can give me the push, the power to step out? I am not going to do this anymore. I am going to choose to see what I have. I had to start battling that self-doubt, self-belief, like lack of self-confidence. Can you? But then it's not good enough. But then you have to see enough light. I don't care if it's a flicker, but follow that and press that until it widens up so wide. Now it's like, oh,
there was this thing on the other side of oh, there's that. It's like you're opening a treasure chest.
Yes.
You say, wow, where was I all this time?
Yeah.
And I feel like people should really invest in, I don't want to call it self-development, but I just want to call it personal development. I mean, self-development, I think it's okay. Story for another day. But developing yourself as a person, like materials, like if you go to church, find a church that can challenge your mind, right? Can grow you to think, to perceive as how you were designed to perceive as a wealthy, prosperous man or woman, purposeful, with your potential being unwrapping Sunday after Sunday. If you're reading a book, pick a book that can help you, right? If you're scrolling on TikTok 24/7, probably you should stop and think about your life, right?
Yep.
You know, so just being observant with every inlet to your mind, because every inlet describes your output. So what you have right now is what you are, right? So when you say that, I was like, oh my goodness, expound this a little bit, and I'm excited for your journey. I have promised to come visit. I have not, but I will come. Now I'm saying it on the podcast. I have to come. I'm excited for you too. You and Josephine and the entire team. Probably I'll see the team. Maybe I'll come and take photos and post on Instagram.
Thank you.
Right. I'm excited for you, and I'm looking forward for a bigger household brand in this nation, so that we can say her story started. Like she's here. Like
I'm telling
everybody
you,
see.
if we survive the 5 year, they say kwamba most businesses don't survive the 5 years. So if we will be able to survive the 5 years,
you will. This podcast will be here to testify.
Yeah.
You will survive.
I will come back.
I
will come back to testify. So with something, it's beautiful. Business is beautiful. It's beautiful.
Wow.
You grow a lot. You understand people. It's just so beautiful. I don't know if you can be able to get all these things being employed, but all the fields and all the, because it's organic. You're just finding it out. Hey, okay, how do I navigate this? Like how you make decisions, how it impacts people, how it impacts you. It's amazing. It's amazing. Painful growth, but it's amazing. So I'm excited. I'm like, there's a stage we're there, and I'm telling you, trying to train people, and I'm like, it's easy to be in this stage and be like, you know what? It is well. Yani, it is well. Yani, it is well. Yani, kwani issue nini? Yani, tuache. But when you know like where you're going and you're like, you have to work on it. It's like a marriage. You don't be like, I'm mad, and you run. No, like, let's work it out. What are we doing? Like, let's talk about it. Let's ingia mundani and dissect, and
we'll figure this thing out.
Figure it out and like keep moving. You know, I'm at a place I'm like, oh, but I'm happy. I'm happy because of all the lessons and all that. I'm like, okay, need to get to work, like get back to the drawing table, and we've talked a lot behind about the lessons and everything, and it's something that I cannot wait to. I look forward to help people. I'm like, I can't wait to help people.
You are right now.
There
you go.
Yes, but like just to help people. Any compa hospitavo. Any rukapo, even in like our classes that we do, the baking classes that we do, I always tell my students, come anyway, you have it so easy because I give you the recipes that work. You don't have to repeat. Yani, no fail. You do this. It will come out like this. I promise you. That's 10 years of experience, whatever. I give you places, the shops where we get our own stuff. Because of the recipes, I even give you our own cake recipes. So you will not fail. You cannot fail. You should not fail. You should not fail. We give you anywhere we buy our ingredients, we give you. That's why when I teach, I try to give somebody something so that they don't have to go through a shortcut. And like, don't go through this. Just listen to me. Unasikia? Fanya hivi. Sawa? Afanza hivi. Akishatoka hapa. And just do that. I promise you. Unatoboa. Yani sasa wewe just be your own yani just begin to be creative of how now to mwenyewe utajua how you market or whatever, how you add your own little thing evil. Go now, in the recipe, in the baking, you'll be covered. In the business, I have experience. I do not have mtaji. I do not have like capital, like here, open this. No, I have been there. And I'm like, okay. This is when you hire. Don't hire now. Okay. And then when you hire, then you do this. And I have those like scars that I'm like, listen.
We should talk. I think you have so much to package.
So much.
You have so much training, so much guidance.
Yeah.
And it will be amazing. I think this what you've just spoken right now is like you've just opened curtains of like a treasure chest of wisdom and practicalities that people can glean from if they see it.
Yeah.
Right. It's one thing for you to value it, but it's another thing for somebody else. And you don't know how people value things sometimes, or maybe most of the times if they pay. Right. If they
attention in a
yes. So I think go right ahead and just we were trying to close this, but it's not closing. Yeah, but I know there's so much. There's just so much. So yeah, go ahead. Like how do we reach you? How do we find you?
So you can reach us through Instagram, Lumiere. You can put the handles, It will
be on the description. Like it will be on the description. Description. Yeah. So
Lumiere _2_ TZ.
Okay.
That's Instagram. We only have Instagram. Our WhatsApp number is 0746 33 9988.
I'll be on the description too.
It will be in the description as well. Yeah. We're at Mikocheni, Manyara Street. Yeah, I think that's
okay. That's
yeah.
it. Your handle on
my
Instagram.
Handle. Okay, my handle is Shasa _255.
Okay.
Also, maybe it will be under the description.
Yeah. So that's great. So y'all people, if you want to reach Shama or reach Lumiere and get a cake, taste it, see, maybe go through the entire experience that I described for like 5-7 minutes, right? Just go on the description below. You'll find all that. Yeah. And apart from that, it's been an amazing. I think I love this conversation. I feel like it has not ended. It will go on. But it was really nice to have you, Shama.
Thank you so much.
I enjoyed it, and I feel like I've also learned a couple of things from that experience, and that's what's important about what we have here. It's not just let's talk so that people can get. Yeah. I'm here because I want to learn too. You get what I mean, right? I think that's it. Until then, we will see you in the next episode. Peace.